Stop!
We're two city-raised millennials who traded concrete for 17 acres of land in the deep forests of western Sweden, all in pursuit of financial freedom and a more self-sufficient way of life.
With no road access to our land, we're learning to make the most of the resources around us as we build our homestead from the ground up.
We're growing food, foraging and fishing, learning every step of the way. Because the catch is, we've never built, grown our own food or even touched a chainsaw before. I'm a complete beginner when it comes to gardening. I've spent most of my life living in an apartment, and until last year, I don't think I'd ever even put a shovel in the ground. My dream is to have a garden that's mostly made up of perennials. Besides the obvious benefit of them being low maintenance once they're established, it also feels like a good way to build a bit more financial and food security. Over time, I hopefully won't have to buy a whole new collection of seeds every year. Getting enough calories from most perennials is difficult though, so I'll probably still need to grow a few annual staple crops. When it comes to annuals though, I want them to meet a few criteria. They should produce plenty of calories, be easy to grow in our climate here in the boreal forest of Sweden, store well without the need of electricity, and be simple to save seeds from for the following year without having to deal with lots of tiny fiddly seeds. With this in mind, I've chosen to grow this year. Broad beans. This year I decided to start my broad beans indoors to keep the birds from eating the seeds and young shoots. They took off much sooner than I expected though, and ended up a bit leggy. We'll see if the extra effort was actually worth it. Potatoes. I've chosen 3 hardy potato varieties that are known for storing well. Onions, or what's specifically known in Sweden as potato onions. They're actually a hardy type of shallot that's said to store exceptionally well. The really great thing about shallots is that each bulb naturally divides and multiplies, so you end up with more than you planted. This also makes them incredibly easy to propagate. Instead of growing onions from seed or buying a new set every year, you can simply save some of this year's bulbs and replant them the following spring. Winter squash. Finally, I'm trying a couple of hardy winter squash varieties. Ushikikuri, which looks like a small pumpkin, and some butternut squash. Both of these are supposed to store really well, so I'm looking forward to see how they perform. I also couldn't resist planting a few more perennials. I tried direct sowing asparagus last spring, which I later learned wasn't a great idea. I think the birds got every single seed. This time I'm trying again with bare root asparagus. Wish me luck.
This part of our property used to be open meadow, but it has gradually grown over since the 1940s. Last year we cleared a section around the garden, and the difference it has made is actually incredible. When we first moved here, moss was growing on the old lilacs and they refused to bloom, most likely from the lack of sunlight. Ever since then, we've been curious to see what color the flowers actually are. This year, that dream finally came true, and we got to see them bloom for the first time. I have a small boat that I inherited from my grandfather, and we finally took the opportunity to bring it up here. It had been sitting in my father's garage for far too long.
Aj, aj, aj. Stop!
We decided to put the boat on a lake that's close to our property, and it got that big perch feel to it. But today the plan is simple: test the boat, explore the lake, and hopefully find some fish at all. Ja, 1 meter typ.
Väldigt långt.
Det jagar här inne. Jag gör ett kast direkt. Jag ankar antennerna. Det är en gädda.
Ja, det är fisk här i alla fall.
Ja. Det verkar det som. Att de är här inne, är det grumla en stekhet sommardag?
Ja, det är nog inte varmt vatten.
Arg!
Oj, oj, oj.
Ja. Ja. Oj, 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 det abborre. Nej! Åh nej! Vilket hugg det var. Varför tappade jag den? Eller var det en gädda? Jag kände bara, du vet, en sekund av tyngd och sen släppte det.
Vad spelar du in?
Ja, det tror jag. Jajamän. Åh. Ja, det där är gädda.
Stark.
Ja.
Den är stor eller?
En fin matfisk.
Jättefin.
Ja. Se där. Det var en gädda som klippte då, alltså han kom igen nämligen. Lite rackare.
Jättefin ju.
Ja.
Jättefin matfisk ju.
Mm. Det blir bra.
Vad häftigt.
Ja. Kan man ta det någonting? Den drar riktigt bra.
Spännande. Vad är det här för bäst?
Jag tror jag. Oj, vad fin!
Snyggt! Wow!
Nice! Så ja.
Snyggt.
Ja, en sommargädda som snabbt ska få gå tillbaka, va?
Ja, jag tror
Vi
det.
tar inte upp den.
Kolla vad fin.
Ja. Hej på dig. Så. Spruce pike.
The fish scraps are coming along to the garden, where they will help feed the winter squash. Ja, precis. För...
My wife asked me to cut a number of poles. There are quite few young spruce trees coming up, and I'm happy to remove them anyway as a part of gradually restoring the meadow that once existed here. Ja.
Jättebra. Hamnar här ungefär eller någonting.
As it turned out, it was the asparagus and the winter squash that needed a little extra support.
Där, förlåt. Precis.
Testar det.
Ja.
Ja.
Ja, hyfsat bra.
Ja. Oops.
You might think that being off-grid doesn't really matter for a garden, but not having access to running water is actually a big deal when it comes to growing things. Having year-round access to the stream is an enormous asset, but it does take some time and sweat to make use of it.
Fortunately, we've had fairly favorable conditions so far. It rains quite a lot here, and the surrounding forest keeps the soil cool and moist. During the entire last growing season, we only needed to water on 3 occasions. Today we're heading southeast into the big city to pick up some very important things for our building project.
Kör ut ur rondellen vid Tullhusgatan.
We're never able to leave this place without a lyxshake, or directly translated to luxury shake, from a certain hamburger restaurant. There's probably some really great food available in this city, but I'm afraid we're not exactly people of culture. Ja, men jag hoppar i då. Ja. Eller, ska jag köra här? Nu kommer vinden. Då är det bra att gå i land.
Yes, precis.
Försvinner bromsen. Oj jävlar. Oj, det var... Jag gnedde räva mot en gren. Oj jävlar, halt det.
Compared to this time last year, the soil is given so much more this season. We've added some cow manure, but since we have to carry everything by hand, I'll mainly be using leaves, weeds and compost leftovers to improve the soil.
It also looks like all the edible perennials we planted last fall have survived, and some of them are even producing a teeny tiny harvest.
As always, thank you so much for watching and supporting us. We really appreciate it, and we hope you have a fantastic summer.